We're back here. We're going to talk about addiction, mainly food addictions or dependencies. So, I am Dr. Natalie Gonzalez. I'm a retired surgeon. I practice integrative and functional medicine. Integrative meaning the best of both complementary or alternative and conventional medical means to help people optimize their health. And I also practice functional medicine, which means that I'm going to be looking for the root cause of whatever's going on rather than putting some kind of a band-aid over the symptoms of that problem. So today we're going to talk about dependency, not just uh, specifically for food addictions, though, today. You can become dependent or addicted to anything, really. It doesn't have to be a food, it can be an activity, it can be any kind of routine that you get into. Your body becomes adjusted to whatever you give it on a day to day basis. And, when we talk about addictions, we think of more in terms of when you try not to use that or do that particular thing, that your body starts to go into a withdrawal pattern. And when we talk about dependency, it just means your body does have a physical withdrawal to not having whatever it's used to having. When I deal with people in my practice, I know that I'm going to see some dependency on just about everything in every patient or client, and I know that I'm going to see that more in people with certain patterns, not only for them but for their family. So certain patterns that will tell me that this person I'm seeing is going to be more apt to have some very strong addictions or dependencies are going to be related to patterns in the family, like addictions and maybe usually a lot of emotional difficulties in the family, like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder. Those kinds of things tell me that they don't process as easily to manage addictions and dependencies in that person. And it's genetically related in many people. I would say at least 60% of our population has a tendency for food addictions. And and then the other thing that I see in my practice, because I deal with a lot of brain dysfunction, is that it is also something that you see at a brain level. And so when we deal with it in our practice, we're dealing it from a genetic standpoint, with it from a genetic standpoint, and also from a brain retraining standpoint. And when it comes to food, you can become dependent or have a certain degree of addiction to certain foods. And the food industry really loves this because they use it to get us to buy certain foods over and over and over, especially the ones that are sugary or salty. Those are the top ones. But we become very dependent and addicted to foods that are spicy, foods that are lemony or have that vinegar taste, foods that are crunchy. We love crunchy, we love oily, we love foods that are fatty, we love protein. I know for myself, I thought it was really odd when I started to feel like I was very, very dependent on meat protein, and I still am, even after being off of it for about 9 months. I still know that I have that craving for meat protein. And so garlic is another one. But any of those things you can become very dependent on, and it's not just your imagination. Your brain actually has some pleasure that it feels from these certain foods when we get them and have them all the time. So, a food withdrawal sometimes just feels like, oh gosh, I just really wish I could have that. And other times it's like, I don't care what you say, I'm going to have that anyway. So, it just depends. I know fried potato products, those are a really big, that's a really big one for me. It took me a long time to get off of that, and it took me a long time to get off of corn, especially popcorn, because I just had such a dependency on it, and I developed a very severe reaction from the corn, just a lot of pain from having too much corn all the time. It was a food sensitivity. So in our practice, just recognizing that it's both genetic and it's a brain retraining process that we need to look at, we start to realize that we're going to have to do this slowly in many people. Some people do it really well, just going cold turkey. Once they realize they have that dependency, then they can make that decision to go cold turkey and do it and do just fine with that. And that's not very common. Usually, what we do is we make some transitions off of that gradually. So I do a lot of things with substitutions when it comes to food addictions and food dependency. And so, for example, a sugar dependency, maybe just getting away from the high fructose corn syrup to begin with and gradually convert that to things that don't have high fructose, but maybe they're still very sweet. Maybe they have honey or maple syrup. Maybe they are just using table sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. So that would be a gradual transition. And then I would gradually, I love to transition people who are dependent on sweets to sweets or sugars that are carried into your body with fiber. So those are going to be fruits, mainly fruits that carry the sugar within the cell wall of the fruit or within the fiber of the fruit. And that is a better way to get it. It's a slower process to absorb it, and it's just a healthier way. There's so many things that are associated with with better health when it comes to fiber that you take into your body. And fruits in general have a lot of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. So to make that transition off of sugar to fruits, don't hesitate to do that. It's a very, very healthy way to do it. And the next thing that I do is uh, I'm just thinking of something like the meat protein. So the meat protein has a lot of inflammation associated with it. In the case when we're trying to do cancer preventions or cancer control, meats tend to spread cancers, and they have um, they have a substance called IL-1, which is interleukin-1 in them, that is associated with cancers. And so if we can get away from those things in meat products, animal proteins, not just red meat, like my father thinks meat means just red meat, but I'm thinking animal proteins and animal products have those things. And in order to get off of that kind of protein, you have to, number one, realize that you can get all the protein you need from plants, and they don't have that same tendency to increase the cancers and the cancer growth in your body, and they don't have the same tendency to spread cancers. And you can get all of those amino acids in plant proteins as long as you're eating a wide variety of them. All of the plants have some protein, even fruits. I mean, even I was shocked to find that watermelon had protein. But anyway, I I think that number one, recognizing that this other food can be just as healthy, if not more, and then secondly, just gradually recognizing that you do have that feeling of dependency on that meat and that fat that you've been eating for so long, and that it sometimes is a gradual process to switch off of that. But you can definitely If you're not sure you're getting enough protein because you don't think plants have it, then I want you to measure it. I want you to take what you're taking in for protein, what you know, but just take every food that you eat and figure out how much protein is in it, whether you look on the label of whatever you're buying or whether you go to a tracker and just put that amount of food in, whether it's beans or grains or vegetables, you put it into a tracker and look and see how much protein that half a cup has, or that cup, or that 4 ounces of whatever you're eating, so that you can understand better how much protein is in all of these different plant foods that you're eating. And you'll realize right off the bat that you're getting more than you thought you were. And it will make it just a little bit easier to transition. Oh, let me think. The fats. The fats are another thing that I start substituting. So if people really love their oils and fats, we have to have some anyway. And I really think that the healthiest fats out there are going to be your, excuse me, going to be your um, nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds have such great fats. Uh, there's also going to be your, you can eat olives, they have fat in them. You can have coconut, just regular coconut, not coconut milk, not coconut oil, the coconut with the fiber, the actual fruit, which is actually coconut is a nut. Um, and to eat that and get those oils from the avocado. That was the other one I was going to say. Avocado is one of the healthiest oils you can get out there. It has great fiber, it has great antioxidants. It should be included as much as possible when you're trying to switch off of animal fats to plant fats and oils. So these things can be done gradually. I really think that you need to allow it, you need to allow yourself the time, because it's not necessarily, for most of us, an easy process to switch over. You need to be very patient and non-judgmental for yourself. So this needs to be something where you're just accepting that you have this dependency and you're experimenting with some substitutions and you're giving yourself time. You're not passing judgment on yourself for the fact that you have this dependency. Like I said, it's genetic, and it's partly that your brain has become trained and just has a feel good chemical that you get every time you eat this thing that it wants, that it's become dependent on. So you just have to be, give yourself that okayness, that you're okay. You're just going to work your way through this a little bit at a time. And we will continue to present things for you that I'm going to continue to give you my best in terms of what you can do to optimize your health. Some of the gems that I find every single day in the things that I'm researching or reading, and things that I never knew before and have really experimented with, not only for myself, but then for my family, with my family and my clients and patients over the last few years. And if you think this has helped you, share it with a friend or a family member that you think it might help them with also. If not, if you don't know anybody that way, please share it with YouTube, or like it rather, so that YouTube knows to share it with other people that are similar to you. YouTube has access to people all over the world that may be similar and in the same place that you are. So please like it so that they know who to share it with. And if you are just looking for more valuable information that you can use in your day-to-day life that will be very helpful for optimizing your health, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you back here either at 11 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, or you can look at the reruns on our website, like and or not like and subscribe. I told you that. But what I was going to say is do. Hmm, now I lost my train of thought. It wasn't like and subscribe though. So we'll see you back in the next video. Look for similar information. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.